Some people might have slight delays, such as we do right now.
There's other big heroes for Na'Vi for today. Akmo is very, very good at offlane Darkseer. But Darkseer, unfortunately, is like the most drafted hero in this tournament so far in terms of picks and bans. So it's going to be contested. They're going to have to like first pick it if they want it. And then there's... I don't think we've seen Saniko play Sand King in this tournament yet.
No, we haven't.
And that was like a breakout.
I've not seen Sand King at all.
In the last couple of weeks online, he had like some of the most godlike games on that hero. He's very, very good at it. I don't know if they just weren't picking it because it doesn't fit into like the group up and push, or
maybe it takes too long for a Blink Dagger to get in line. I know Saneko gets it fairly fast, but perhaps you want to win the laning stage and then you can't really afford to have a Sand King getting somewhere, his Blink perhaps in the jungle, and therefore playing with 4 for the time being.
Although against LGD, I think that would be the team that you could get away with.
Yes,
you
can be a bit greedy. If you have a plan that has like a perfect timing at like 25 minutes, but before that 25 minutes you can't really do anything, I think that might be the game plan there.
So maybe Sand King is the hero. Maybe because I mean he is just so good at it. There was a game, I think it was in the BTS EU Cup a week or two back, where he was the highest farmed hero in the game, like 4 position support from like 15 minutes, just because he kept making kills. And then he like bought a refresher orb, and there's a fight where he stuns 4 people, refreshes, stuns them all again. Like he was just like solo winning the game for his team, and that's a hero that I've seen him do it on recently. So that's a player I think could rise to the occasion.
Speaking of Darkseer, you say both team pick it a lot, and I think that is a go-to pick for ROTK. How about picking him an Oracle to just hard counter him in lane, and then just, I feel like once ROTK gets a very tough start where he doesn't get the early mech, that's where the team really struggles in the mid game as well. So I feel like maybe that's another hero that they could look towards to. I believe Saneko plays the Oracle for the team.
He does play the Oracle. Yeah. I've seen ROTK adjust though when he had to be Darkseer against Oracle yesterday.
Just go jungle.
He just went straight to the jungle.
Yeah.
Some players don't want to do it. They're stubborn and then they end up dying and then they go to the jungle. But ROTK just went straight there.
And Oracle perhaps... I mean, I'm not a big fan of Oracle, but maybe also not aggressive enough for Saneko? Don't you want to see him on those playmakers? Because otherwise you're going to have a lot of pressure on Arcel and Dendi and Axmo as well, depending on which heroes they have, of course, to make the plays and initiate. But I think that Saneko is like the player to try and define the tempo of Na'Vi.
I do agree that Oracle is a very situational hero in terms of when you draft it, and also in the game that he's in, like he can't just, let's say, compared to Oracle's Wyvern, you could walk into a lane and just start doing stuff. Whereas Oracle, you require them to be in sort of out of position, you require your carry to dish out some damage. So it's kind of like, okay, if all the stars align, my Oracle could do some stuff. So I do agree it's a very situational hero. Whereas, if Sand King Burrow strikes 3 people, well, he's done his job. So
yeah.
I think we mentioned yesterday that for Na'Vi also a lot depends on how Dendi is in his lane, how he does. If he wins his lane, Na'Vi is a way better shot, and if he loses his lane, basically Na'Vi loses altogether. So what are you going to do as Na'Vi to make sure that Dendi has an easy lane, or at least wins his lane?
Well, one approach, I think the approach that they used against Alliance was just to have the Chen, and then just like rush into the lane and gank S4 all the time, and that's the only game that they won. So maybe just actively helping Dendi's lane is the trick. Although recently Na'Vi have been mixing it up, and sometimes Dendi's been playing more of like the just fill in the gaps role and not be the key hero. So I'm not too sure what their approach is. I'm not too sure what they go for. I'm very tempted to say that the Ditchera is still the key player for Na'Vi here, and it's not going to be about Dendi. It's going to be about like Ditchera will probably have a good game to start with. He almost always does. And then like does he maintain that focus to the finish line? That's what I think it is.
No pressure.
In terms of the heroes that you could draft, Chen is being one of them. I think Bane from the last patch, you just stick a Bane in the mid lane, and suddenly your lane is okay. You don't need ever lose that lane.
True.
So maybe that's the way to go. I do believe they play Bane quite a bit as well. So
yeah, it's a hero that they definitely pick.
Yeah, so they have the tools to protect Dendi if they want to, but I am in agreement. I'm not sure whether they will actually want to focus on Dendi so much.
And if you're LGD, are you gonna try to do anything in the lanes in terms of doing anything different? But like you're gonna defend your lanes. You're gonna have safe lanes because you want to delay the game to the point where your core is, where Sylar is basically farmed enough to actually start winning the game for you. So are you gonna do anything to try and shut any of the players of Na'Vi down in the laning stage, or are you just gonna pick safe supports and make sure that Na'Vi can't do anything, but also that you can't do anything in return, but just play your own game?
So I think to answer your question, I'm going to answer in a very convoluted way.
Okay.
There was a game that LGD won yesterday, but they didn't win it in a very clean fashion. Like they were winning the whole game. I forgot a Fnatic, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Towards the end of the game, like the Shadow Fiend just blinked into the tier 4s and started like doing the standard fountain diving stuff that we see. They eventually won the game, and afterwards I saw ROTK coming out and just berating his teammates, like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this." And the team was having a healthy discussion, if you will, about the play. And I feel like just judging from that, and a lot of Chinese teams in general, they just want to make sure they execute their own game plan that they initially crafted. So I don't think walking into this game, they're like, okay, we need to focus on this, or we need to really worry about what Navi's doing. I think they're much more worried about, okay, can we draft a game, and can we play the lineup that we want to play? I think that's their utmost priority.
It's been the beauty of LGD in this tournament. They're just like, let's be stable. And if we don't get run over early on like so many other teams, then we're confident we'll win as the game goes later. So I think they'll go for pretty standard stuff. I don't think there's any pressure on them to get new things. They'll pick the Witch Doctor or the Earth Spirit, those kind of heroes, and they'll get one of Sylar's big heroes. Maybe we'll get something that can get a good lane stage and make some space afterwards. And
I almost want to say that, you know, you're 3-0 in the group. Mathematically, you're through.
If they win one more, they're first.
They're first, yeah. So it's like, maybe you just stick to doing what you're doing and not show any stuff. Like, if you're thinking about winning a tournament, you don't suddenly want to be like, hey, we could also play, insert, you know, random strange support here on this patch. You know, we have a strong Crystal Maiden strat. Like, I don't think you want to bring it out on this time.
And I think their last match that they have is against Alliance.
Yeah.
Today, so perhaps then try to if they do win this one, I mean then that's their time to actually try something maybe controversial.
Yeah, because with 4 wins they would be first anyway.
They're guaranteed first. Yes, definitely a good showing. And we are still waiting for the first game of the day to start. Navi versus LGD should be our first game. Slightly behind schedule. That gives us a bit of time to thank our sponsors, without whom we would not be here in this scenario. So shout out to Vulcan, EGB, the Score Esports app, which you can get in Google Play as well as the iOS App Store
for free.
And it's actually really handy if you're missing some of the games. And also, of course, Twitch, where we're streaming right now. So shout out to those guys. Because we have a bit of extra time, we can talk a little bit more about the other teams also in this tournament. So
can I give a shout out to Twitch real fast, because Twitch is saving my stomach, because there's actually decent food in the Twitch lounge.
Oh really?
I don't know if it's a rarity.
I do believe.
Look, the chicken was really good.
The chicken was amazing.
And the potatoes were good.
Basically, it was amazing because there was a thick layer of cheese in the chicken. But
I'm just saying that we rarely get like really good catering food.
Yeah.
And this is like
the risotto was really good.
It's like
I do believe that I heard them say that Starladder arranged everything.
Okay.
So perhaps the Twitch lounge.
So it's really just Starladder.
It could be Starladder, but I mean, it is. I think it's worth it to just shout out to food, because sometimes there's just not.
When you said you were thanking Twitch, I thought you were talking about Twitch chat. I thought you were like, Twitch chat saved my stomach, and I was like, what are you talking about?
I thought maybe someone took some medicines with them or something. We are actually in the draft, guys. It is time. Navi versus LGD. First game of the day here for Starladder I-League Star Series World Finals. Last day of the group stages. As tomorrow we will continue on with only 6 out of the 12 teams in a single elimination best of 3 format, where we will share the stage with CSGO, and it will be best of 3 Dota, best of 3 CSGO, best of 3 Dota, best of 3 CSGO, in case anybody was unaware of how that went. And indeed,
yep, Navi's already winning the draft.
They listened to it in the pre-show.
They banned the Earth Spirits.
I think these two are the strongest hero this match. Just flat out.
And I think, did LGD get Earth Spirit in all the games yesterday?
They got it in 2 out of 3.
Okay, so someone else did already ban it. What was the hero that MMY played in the game where he didn't play Earth Spirit, do you know? Was it a Tusk or
Witch Doctor or something like that? Speaking of Witch Doctor, I do believe LGD is perfect or close to perfect with that hero this match. And the other support that they're very good at is Disruptor. So I imagine, and these are like in the 80s, 90% win rate.
Yeah, and MMY and DDC both play Witch Doctor as well, so it's a very nice fit for them. I don't know if they need to take it that early in the draft. It's not really that contested.
Right.
What do they? I mean, every game I watched 2 games where they just first picked Earth Spirits. Now I'm like, what do you say?
Yeah, what do you first? I mean, Tusk is still very good. Yeah. He's in the pool.
And that's the Liquid approach, right? Your Earth Spirit gets banned, you just go Tusk. It operates very similarly. It controls the game in a similar way. MMY is really good at it. So I think it's a very reasonable pick.
Dark Series.
A Facial Spirit is still in the pool as well. LGD doesn't really play it as a core, so in their case you would kind of imagine that it would be a support, which might kind of defeat the purpose of picking Venture Bit, as it is nice to have that
So
option that it can do anything.
We talked about the Venge and the Chen earlier on. Those are possibilities. And then there's the Darkseer and the Tusk we talked about now.
Yeah.
I think it's probably somewhere in that category of heroes.
Well, a strange one could be the Sylar Lone Druid as well. We haven't seen him play it, but back in TI2, he showed that he definitely can play the hero. And Lone Druid to me is also the other quote-unquote broken hero that it feels like teams are underpicking. Like, against Alliance, you ban it, obviously. But in a game like this, I definitely think that LGD or Na'Vi could pick Lone Druid highly and just ride the success of the hero, because I think the hero is so broken with Savage Roar.
I'm feeling a Darkseer.
I'm thinking LGD really thought that they could get the Earth Spirit this draft, because they're taking a long time.
Yeah, on the first pick too.
Oh shit, they banned our Earth Spirit. What do we do, guys?
I picked Darkseer.
Panic.
Yeah, Darkseer is such a big pick because it's really good for them. There's not a lot of offlaners that get value in this patch. They're good at the Darkseer, and it's also the best offlaner the Na'Vi have. So it's also just a hero that guarantees you're unlikely to lose the game in like one of those huge fights, because you're probably the team that has the upper hand in one of those huge fights. So Dendi gets sorry, not Dendi, I'm looking at his name. Na'Vi gets to respond, and I noticed the Wisp is still out, and that was something that I was thinking that they could go for the Wisp and Tiny. It is like one of the classic Na'Vi strategies. Tiny's one of Vitura's best heroes.
Wait, was it Na'Vi yesterday that picked Wisp and Chen together?
I don't know. I don't know if it was.
I saw that combination.
There was a team that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't go well because the Wisp, they had Soneko Wisp and they used it together with the Sven, and it actually was that game where they actually won, where the Soneko IO basically was the second Blink Dagger for the Sven.
Oh, okay, yeah.
To jump after anything.
Which game would that have been?
I believe they were up against Alliance.
The Alliance one? Oh yeah, yeah, because the Alliance one was the one where they had Chen and they shut down the. So maybe that was.
Yeah, they had the IO for sure.
Okay,
and if you say they had the Chen for sure, then they had both.
So the winning
but they
combo.
did win that
So
one.
Na'Vi's only win comes from Chen Wisp. So maybe that's what they go for again.
It was good, but at the same time, I kind of feel like going up against Alliance is very different from going up against LGD, so I'm not sure we'll work against them. But we already mentioned that maybe it's okay to have fairly more passive supports, because LGD probably wants to play the late game anyways.
Well, yeah, looks like they went the other direction. They get the Tusk, which is much more active, kind of putting pressure, and it's also a block pick against MMY. And so now he gets his, well, I don't know if it's MMY or DDC, the Witch Doctor in response.
So I'm not sure if whether LG did think like this, but I almost want to say that Witch Doctor is a decent counter to Chen. Like, towards the mid and even the early team fights, just throw out Casket, and the stun time is so long on the creeps.
Yeah.
So Chen essentially doesn't have an army. You can make the same argument that the Chen creep is also tanking the stuns, it's not going on your heroes. But the ways that LGG is also playing the Witch Doctor is they're putting much more farm priority on the hero. It's very very uncommon for him to finish Axe 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
So suddenly you're dealing with a very farm Witch Doctor that you can't ignore. Darkseer needs to be prioritized in team fights, and then you have whatever Sylar is playing. So
I think it's much better against Chen than the CM. Yesterday we saw two teams try to go CM to counter Chen, and it just didn't work really, because the CM's, it's not as mobile around the map, and it's not as useful once the push starts. Witch Doctor can stun like all the creeps instead of just holding one of them. So I like the pick here, definitely. And honestly, I'm a bit worried for Na'Vi. If you look at Chen and Tusk, and you consider that Tusk is hardly... Akmo does play it, but it's usually picked as supports, so I'm seeing Soneko on it probably. If those are their two supports, like, doesn't offlane Darkseer just get good value?
Well, it depends on the creep that Chen gets. Let's say if he gets the Dark Troll Summoner. Depending what you have on your safe lane, then I think Darkseer could be pressured. And also, you know, they can always move the Tusk to off lane and pick up, let's say, Oracle to shut down the Darkseer. I mean, it's probably like you said, the Tusk is probably a support, but they still have a little bit of versatility in the draft.
Well, I don't know. Akmo plays very specific offlaners in my experience. He plays Tusk, he plays Darkseer, he plays Earthshaker, I think. They don't have the Darkseer, they've got the Tusk. I mean, so I don't know if they're going to go back to the Earthshaker in this draft. Have any of you guys seen an Earthshaker in this tournament yet?
No, not in this tournament.
No.
Haven't done
Not in the mainstream. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch obviously the games on the secondary stream, so there were a lot of games yesterday.
I've been mostly on the secondary stream, and there was not a shaker. So with our combined knowledge, Shiver,
we can do this.
We could deduce that there is a very low chance of a shaker being played.
And why is he not played? Is it the same reason as why we didn't see a Sand King? It just takes maybe a bit too much time to get that Blink Dagger up, or?
Well, I think compared to the last patch where the offlane was relatively safe, this patch the offlane is very far away, and Shaker is one of those heroes that essentially does very little early on. He's like, okay, I'm going to leech one creep here, get some experience there, maybe roam around.
And there was that small patch where they changed Ancient Pools, and I think it affected the offlaners too. They changed Fissure and Ice Shards and Sprouts and Cog so that they don't properly block the lane. So I think now if you fissure off the lane, like some of the creeps path around and some go through, and that it makes it a lot harder for you to hold the lane back. I haven't actually seen it happen, but I know there was a patch that changed the pathing like that.
Yeah, we do have the Terrorblade ban, by the way, so no LGD Terrorblade. I really like the Bounty Hunter ban. It kind of... We all know that Bounty Hunter is a bit considered to be the counter to Chen, but it also just makes sure that Na'Vi doesn't have to worry about that and can just focus on their own gameplay and playing their own style of Dota, which I feel like is really important for them in this match against LGD, because trying to beat LGD at their own game is not going to work.
I really like the direction they're taking with this Magnus, because like we've been saying over and over again, LGD thrives on late game, and Magnus is one of those heroes that you win that one late game fight. You get a good RP in, you give the power to, let's say, your carry Sven's, you know.
There's always a chance.
Sven needs more cleave.
You give him 50% more damage, it's no joke, right? So he's just more damage, and then imagine Chen gives a frenzy buff to whatever carry that is also empowered. You're, you know, building your own giant death robot.
Yeah, and Dendi, it must be said, is the Magnus player to make that, you know, big RP that wins the game. So definitely it gives them options going late, which you want. I think drafting against LGD, you either need to be super confident that you're going to actually push underneath them, no one's going to be able to succeed in that, or you need to have at least some fallback where you can play against them if it goes late.
Alright, Disruptor. Now yesterday I did see some insanely quick silences. I believe when Swindle Melon jumped in with his Brewmaster, he got like chain silenced by 3 heroes. So let's see if whoever is playing Disruptor is on point with the Static Storm. But that is going to be the late game combo, the Empower and Anti-Mage. We've seen it before, we know it's very, very strong. The main question is, like, now Na'Vi is playing in the late game territory that LG is really good at. Like, is that the way to go, you think?
I mean, it's not complete late game, right? Anti-Mage is meant to, if he gets a good lane stage, get his items really quickly, and then it's kind of like still in the middle game. Where
it's like we reach our late game faster than you do, and then we win.
And I mean, Anti-Mage definitely is a classic Ditchera hero. It's one of the heroes he played the most, even before he was on Na'Vi. When he was playing Power Rangers, he was playing for NLG. It's really good at laning against Darkseer, and I was asking the question earlier if they want to have the Tusk and the Chen on support. Darkseer might be a problem for their carry, so I think it kind of just ticks all the boxes, makes sense here.
If you are going to have your Tusk as support, that Anti-Mage is going to be very easy to try and shut down with your offlane. Now, like, what are you going to do against a Darkseer? Is Tusk enough to keep the Anti-Mage safe?
Anti-Mage can actually pretty much solo Darkseer.
Yeah, you can burn his mana, which is nice. I'm still kind of worried though.
It's one of the better matchups solo against Darkseer. So I think if he gets some help early on, he should be totally fine there. And that'll actually it's very useful. It helps them let the Chen and Tusk rotate and put pressure on the mid lane for LGD, and that might be the secret. Even though we talk about Silo all the time, it's maybe he usually has a good start, and then in those early fights keeps them in the game until Silo goes online. So maybe Navi's approach is to actually put the pressure on maybe in the mid lane with the Chen and the Tusk, and just leave Ditchera in a lane where he can pretty much 1v1.
Alright, Silo's going to have to show us a different hero, because Terrorblade and Morphling is taken out. So he's obviously played the standard, you know, the Gyrocopter, the Blade Master, not Blade Master, Juggernaut. Blade Master is this Warcraft 3 name.
Throwback.
I mentioned the Lone Druid. He's played a Slark in the Chinese qualifier, so he's definitely got a couple of heroes that he could show us. I just wonder, what do you want against this, you know, breakdown of Magnus Anti-Mage and possibly a Tusk form?
I could see a Juggernaut working out. At the same time, I will also focus a little bit on the Na'Vi's last pick, because LGD is expecting a support. They banned out the Vengeful Spirit. So they are expecting an X-Mode Tusk.
Yeah, that is what they're expecting. And I mean, again, like I said, we don't see a lot of Earthshaker. He usually plays Earthshaker, Tusk, or Darkseer, I think. And since the Darkseer, maybe it is just an X-Mode Tusk. And then, wait, but they banned Venge, right?
Yes.
Is the Oracle still in?
Yes.
The Oracle is still in.
Because that's the kind of go-to hero against Darkseer usually.
Rubik is still in as well.
So
oh, wow, okay.
Oh.
So,
alright, I'm staying here watching this game now.
I think we're
it's
going to have...
Dendi, it's Seneko.
It's an off-lane Magnus, mid-Pudge, support Tusk. The lane's going to be a little bit wonky, right?
It could be Axmo Magnus, but it could, I should point it out, Seneko Pudge, Roaming Pudge.
I think it's Seneko Pudge.
Alright. I mean, that makes more sense.
I watched them play it
But
recently.
you have Dendi.
Yeah,
It's like, can I just get a little excited?
But I'm telling you, the last
5
time they drafted
seconds
Pudge, it was Seneko. It wasn't
Alright.
Dendi. And I was in the I was like, oh, it must be No, it was Seneko.
Reserve time.
Yeah, it makes more sense to have a mid Magnus and offlane Tusk, but can a man dream, right?
You know what's funny?
can,
You know what's like this is Na'Vi and they've picked Chen and Pudge. That doesn't work anymore, right?
It does not. It does not.
They do
unfortunately.
have 4 melee heroes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Slark is
Slark.
pretty good against the Pudge as well there. So
It's Dendi Pudge. He locked in.
It's Dendi
he
Pudge.
might
It's Dendi Pudge.
swap. You know, I want to minimize the disappointment when we come into the actual game. But it is time for the actual game, guys. Which draft do you favor now? That
I
the
mean,
Slark's
there's a
drafted?
Dendi Pudge. If Dendi's
Okay.
playing Pudge, Na'Vi.
Yeah, and Pudge is actually that matchup against Shadow Fiend is a matchup that Pudges sometimes you get the upper hand and you just
Dude,
destroy
if you get a hook,
the
man,
Shadow
you just
Fiend.
go.
So
Dude, I'm expecting Aether lenses. I'm expecting Aghanim scepters. Let's just go.
Let's just hope and dream. That's what we're going for here. It is time for our first game of the day. We're gonna see Na'Vi versus LGD with ODPixel and GoDz.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Na'Vi, LGD, and what a draft we've had. We saw there the reaction from Na'Vi, me and you were going, oh, what are they high-fiving? And then bam, okay, Pudge has been picked up. LGD finished it off with the Sylar Slark that Lumi did mention in the draft, something that they've done in the past, and what a game we're going to have. The Magnus, of course, coming out as well. Dendi did lock in the Pudge. If hopefully we can get ourselves to the game soon to see if that stayed that way, because you mentioned, obviously, Seneko. He'd been playing it, so wondering if they're going to maybe swap it around. Dendi's still on his Magnus, or if it's indeed going to be the offlane Magnus. It looks like it is. It is.
That whole
Dendi
draft
Pudge,
was a
Akmo
roller
Mag.
coaster. Like we
Yeah.
saw the Magnus pick and we're like, yeah, we got a Magnus. Like this is good. Then we saw the Anti-Mage. It was like, oh, it's
it's
a
back down.
farming game. Like they don't get to power Anti-Mage. Then we saw the Pudge. It was like, oh, okay, we're right back at the
on.
high. Yeah.
We're back on. And indeed, yeah. So the Dendi Pudge, you're going to have the offlane Mag here, but being played by Akmo. And I mean, do you think this is a bit of a reaction to the fact that they did see the SF come out? Because it's obviously something that not a lot of the teams are doing. LGD, maybe he's still one that still likes to do it. We saw him do it against Fnatic yesterday. They did win the game. So do you think they were going to do the Dendi Magnus? And they're like, all right, they want to put an SF mid. Let's punish it. Let's get Dendi on the Pudge there.
I really don't know. I think it was something they probably theory crafted a bit coming into the series that they could try and fit in a Pudge. They feel like it's traditionally you go way back and you look at some of the biggest Pudge games in competitive Dota. It's been to take down the slow, stable play of some of the Chinese juggernauts. You go back to TI where it was
30
Tongfu who got
seconds to
taken out
battle.
by the Chen Pudge hooks. You go back to even teams like Alliance when they went to China. They actually pulled out Pudge themselves and took games off. So it's sometimes been a hero that disrupts the flow for some of these teams that play this more methodical way where they kind of go from objective to objective. So I think it's something that Na'Vi kind of took into mind, like reversing LGD. They're a team that doesn't make mistakes. Well, they're not going to make mistakes. Let's just pull them to us. Let's force those mistakes. So I think that's where Pudge kind of comes into play. And I think the biggest surprise to me is just that it was the mid Pudge for Dendi. I mean, you see, as much as it is Dendi's classic hero, it just doesn't seem to be a hero suited to the mid lane. It's going to entirely change like the flow and how this game's played. Like Pudge is not a hero that's going to go mid, get any farm, and expect to carry the game. You've got to have a farming support in this case, which perhaps is going to be like more Seneko or art style.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Slark really pans out for the side of LGD now that there is this core Pudge. You know, Slark, he is going to be building those stats items, but the progression, you know, from the early to mid, it's going to take a bit of time. So if Dendi's able to get around the map with the rotations, there's definitely going to be the scope to punish the Slark. But at the same time, a bit of a kind of a double edge in the sense that as it goes later, if the Slark does get that initial amount of farm, you know, a kind of a fat Pudge is just going to be stats. You know, the essence is just going to build up, and if there isn't the control from Na'Vi, Slark's just going to be feasting on the Pudge himself.
Yeah. So we'll see how things get going here early on. It's a Tusk with Pudge as well, so you hit an Ice Shards in the mid lane, you snowball in for a stun, there's very little escape for Shadow Fiend, and that's where right from the get-go we're seeing Witch Doctor kind of pairing up the mid lane. I don't think this Witch Doctor's going to go too far. MMY wants to help out maybe as much as possible.
It's just interesting to see how this matchup goes. Obviously, when they did pick the Pudge, they knew for sure that it was going to be the SF in the mid lane. So Na'Vi, they must feel fairly confident with this hero matchup. And I'm sure it's one Dendi himself has played a lot of times in the past. This whole Pudge Shadow Fiend. And this so this offlane Magnus here being played by Akmo. He's going to have to deal with the Disruptor and the Slark, and I guess it's never really nice because he's got to be very careful about his positioning against DDC in this lane.
Yeah, and this is looking like a lane where he may get next to nothing. You've already got the creep equilibrium being controlled by Sylar, and DDC can just do what he can to just use Thunderstrike, zone him out. So it's going to be very tough. Already, though, smoke picked up by the Tusk. I imagine this Tusk Chen are going to be using smokes very early on, getting super aggressive, and using that to try and get Dendi off to a good start with some early ganks. Yeah,
and it's going to be all about the ganks here for Na'Vi, because we saw it yesterday. Sylar, just in all the games that he had, he was given so much space, and he knows exactly how to use it. This is one of the carries that it seems to be the smartest when he gets the early game farm. He just doesn't mess up if he gets ahead. So you really need to punish Sylar early on, otherwise Na'Vi are going to be in a bit for a long ride.
And just keep an eye on Witch Doctor. He is just camped at this mid lane. He's hiding behind these trees, ready for that kind of gank to come on in. He pokes his nose out just to be like, hey, by the way, I'm still here. Try and gank my SF and see what happens. He does not want to leave the Shadow Fiend for a moment, it seems. He'll do so temporarily to stack a neutral camp, but as soon as he stacks this, he's going to be back towards the mid lane, continuing to camp and protect Shadow Fiend as much as possible.
Which my matriarch will prize.
So far, Dendi's not having too many issues with it. He is 7-1-8 for 2. We'll see if he can set something up with this. He's looking towards mid.
Got level 2 as well. He leaks the experience, so that's a big boost to what he can do. Trying to perhaps find a courier, which is not going to come his way.
He does have to be a little bit careful as well if he wants to go for the dive, because the Witch Doctor is still there, and a paralyzing cast bounce underneath the tower could spell a bit of disaster here for Na'Vi, so we'll see indeed what Seneco's plan is going to be. He comes back round.
He sees MMY from
he knows the Witch Doctor's here.
Possibly you try and go for the
set
hook.
up a hook, yeah, at this angle.
And it's possible Pudge just hooks it blind.
He's got to get rid of this creep, this creep kind of ruining the plan here for Dendi.
If you're Witch Doctor, you're thinking, oh, I'm in fog behind these trees, and that's where a hook could just come out with the Tusk vision. But and this is really just stable play from LGD in the early game laning stage. Like they don't want to give Na'Vi any kind of an edge off of the early game, so they're sacrificing some Witch Doctor farm and levels to make sure SF does well. And he's stacking as well, so like this is a dream start for LGD.
Dendi just playing around still. He's going to throw out a hook, just to tease maybe, just tickle it.
Smoke from Saniko, trying to come in from the other direction. He needs to be sure that
out the stacks.
Okay, he's going to spot the stacks, block it off. He doesn't really want to run into the Witch Doctor. Unfortunately, he will, so that kind of reveals his position and basically means he's unlikely to be too successful with any ganks or rotations right now. MMY is fine with this. He'll have to back off to his tower ultimately, but
Artstyle
this
as well.
is the real
Might
game.
catch out maybe. Maybe he's got to make a decision. He's like, where do I go? Gets troll trap. Dendi trying to look for the chase down, trying to get in range so he can get the slow off with the rot, but maybe he's going to get himself around Artstyle. Trying to get in position here for the stun, but oh, there's your hook. Dendi brings maybe in, and that should kill. They'll give themselves that one.
So Tusk, like he's the decoy. He goes running off, distracts Witch Doctor out of the lane, and then Chen like roams on in. I don't think that was like necessarily the initial plan for Na'Vi, but they'll take it. Get Tusk. You show Tusk on the map, and then suddenly SF thinks he's a bit safe, and Witch Doctor kind of gets pulled away.
Artstar coming back top. That's got the ensnare again, and ROTK out of mana and out of luck. This looking to be another kill for Na'Vi. I don't know if there's any way he gets out. The stun is going to miss here. He goes into the tree line, but Ditchara looking to be there to clean this one up. A salve has been wasted, and Na'Vi take themselves a second kill as they punish the offlane.
Yeah. Sloppy from Daxi, perhaps, knowing that Chen can rotate up there right after the mid lane. It was just good rotation at the same time from Artsal and Dendi.
Dendi.
He's fishing.
Easiest took of his life coming up. He's even going to make it easier, letting the snowball roll in first. Straight on to MMY. No chances given if the Witch Doctor as he chomped straight down on him.
Didn't even have to use it.
Yeah, he just uses the ult here to dispose of the Witch Doctor. And this is, I mean, already, this is the kind of start that Na'Vi need with their lineup.
Yeah, it took them a while to get that first skill, but they've got a couple now. They need to keep going, and Dendi's not going to just sit mid farming. At this point, I feel like the one kind of downside of Na'Vi's lineup is they haven't got that. Ooh, they haven't got that good farming here to take over mid lane when Dendi wants to roam around. They've only, I guess Magnus maybe comes since the off lane's such a bad lane for him. So you put
how's
Magnus
Magnus doing so far? He's getting the levels, but CS, yeah, it's not great here for Akma.
They've got a lot of heroes that want to just roam and pressure towers. Like both Tusk and Pudge both want to be roaming around. Chen wants to be kind of pushing lanes, so it's going to be like who's pushing out the lanes, who's actually farming these lanes by themselves, which is going to be maybe a bit of the big question for Na'Vi. Maybe the Saniko Tusk gets more as a result.
I guess one of the nice things about the Magnus this game is the Blink Dagger, it's not going to be that essential for Na'Vi to make the plays with the RP, because you've already got the gap closers. You've got Pudge with his hook, you've got Tusk with the snowball, so you can either bring the Magnus to them or bring them towards the Magnus. And just having an RP to lock someone down like the Slark after getting that initial jump on with the help of someone else on the side of Na'Vi could mean that you're still finding a lot with the RP this time.
Free farm still continue to go Sila's way, and it's one of those things that kind of, you go back to the old patch, you kill an SF once mid lane, it doesn't really matter much when he's got stacks to fall back on and has like already got a decent amount of CS. He's out farming the Pudge as far as raw CS goes, so for Na'Vi they need to keep getting kills. To me, 3-0 kill lead is not enough for like right this stage of the game. They need to keep going for more, and Pudge is already heading down bottom.
Dendi realizes that, yeah, straight away. Looking for some action. Sylar and DGC the ones around at the moment. He might find the disruptor. He comes around the corner. You'll see that the pull.
Oh, he's been scouted.
Yeah,
That's
creep there.
unfortunate for Dendi.
Well, he's actually going to find a kill off the back of it. So look onto MLY. Maybe he's rotated in. Dendi can ward this one off. He's going to get glimpsed back into the party ring. Skewer DDC out. Snake coming in to try and help as well, but Dendi will go down as Sylar is there with the rotation from the bottom lane. Now the pounce forward. He's not going to quite catch onto Snako. Sylar using the ult to chase down that extra movement speed, allowing him to close the gap, and he will get himself another kill. And that's kind of exactly what the side of Na'Vi don't want to be giving away. More positive
Dire's
action
top
here
tower
to
is
this
under
slot.
attack.
RTK. He used Iron Shell and almost didn't have the mana
Oh,
for
he juked the
surge.
stun. No, he's not going to juke that one. Bam! Man avoid there from Ditchera to secure himself a kill.
He's playing really aggressive and pushing up the lane, but it forces heroes to come top because AM can't get that kill and deal with Daxter alone. So for RTK, it's like, well, I may die here, I may be playing a bit too recklessly, but the trade-off is that the Chen is helping out top lane rather than ganking the mid lane or ganking the Slark. So it just frees up space for what is a somewhat greedy LGD side when you picked up the Slark with the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, and getting these kills is something that Sylar's going to need to do as well, because you bear in mind that he's going up against an anti-mage with a Magnus backing him up, who is going to have him power eventually. You're not going to be able to out-farm that in terms of CS. You need to be finding the kills and the pickoffs, which is why it's going to be interesting to see what Sylar builds this game on the Slark. I mean, is this a Shadow Blade, Blink game straight up? What do you reckon here for Sylar?
If they want to play fast tempo, they can pick up the Blink Dagger, but I think they really just have a great late game because of the fact that Na'Vi have gone all in on these gankers. So for me, I don't think he's likely to go for that fast Blink. I think we see either a Shadow Blade or something like a fast SMY just to get some early stats and give him like a build where he can just kind of play a bit more kind of slow pace, farm up a bit more, and just take Na'Vi into the late game. I don't think Anti-Mage will actually do that well against SF plus Slark later on.
And at the moment, I mean, RTK, even though he has died a couple of times on this off lane, he's still finding a lot as a Darkseid 35 CS level 8. So he's still getting the aggression that he needs.
Kind of just a classic. You die once or twice, but you get a lot of farm, and you also pressure the anti-mage a bit.
Dire's middle tower is under
Knows
attack.
what RTK's about, but RTK he's going to surge straight down.
Yeah, looks like the Radiant Ward may have just slightly spotted them there. That was with Na'Vi getting a very aggressive ward down near that T1 top tower. Since you won't find anything. Man, that Radiant Ward spotting out the smoke gank at the perfect place.
Yeah, literally must have just on the edge when Dendi's had dispelled as he came in the corner.
Great ward to have against the Pudge as well. Like, you know Na'Vi's going to be roaming around.
Oh, mid lane, hook straight up with the follow-up here. There is the Witch Doctor to back up maybe. That's going to be enough to get him out of there. Akmo does come into the lane. Still not level 6 yet, so wouldn't have had that skewer RP anyway. Maybe he's going to be fine there thanks to the Witch Doctor's presence.
Maybe that's a ballsy play to go for that farm there.
Oh, Dendi.
Guess is wrong. Didn't have high ground vision, so he's kind of just blindly guessing there, hoping to land it.
Yeah, but as you said, even though it's 5 for 2, you reckon this kind of pace is favouring LGD. They're going to be a bit more comfortable with this.
I think LGD, this is right now going better for them than Na'Vi.
Dire's
Na'Vi, the
bottom
next big
tower
window is
is
going to
under
come when
attack.
Chen has like mech, maybe the mech plus arcanes, and can start pressuring towers. Like you start pushing towers with Chen creeps and have anti-mage just free farming elsewhere on the map, and the Pudge, like the threat of the hook with the push means it's quite hard to defend for LGD, because if they get near or they start trying to throw spells at the Chen creeps or the creep wave, they could quite likely get hooked in and killed off.
I'm actually seeing a rotation here from the Disruptor with the Shadow Fiend. Looking
That's
to
a
try
big
and
kill if they can get
catch out the AMM. They've just hit 6, so he's got the static Stormot, and We'll see if he's able to use this to catch him out, and he will. Traps him in the field. TP's coming through. Hand of God. Can they keep Ditchara alive? No, they can't. LGD will find the kill. Dendi, though, with the ult straight up onto Maybe. They're going to find the Shadow Fiend kill. The hook to cancel DDC's TP. They get themselves the second. So they do lose the AM, but they do punish LGD rather heavily for it, as that was also a lot of time that it took for the SF to make that rotation up there.
Yeah, I think that's actually good for Na'Vi. LGD thinking they can get the kill and then get out was perhaps a bit too greedy of them. Just having the 2 heroes meant it took a long time to bring down the AM, and the Hand of God also buying him more time. So they're in a position where they can pressure this top lane if they want to, but it looks like for now they're going to farm, get a few more levels. They're just like they don't have up. They just got the RP up. They don't have Horus Punch. They don't really want to go for any kind of Chen push until they've got a few more of these key levels.
And as we can see there, Akmo done really well with kind of the circumstances that he's been under. He's just played it safe. He hasn't died at all. Just utilising the little side camp towards the bottom lane and finding the blink safely. It's not the fastest, but still for an offlane mag that wasn't having a great time pre-12 minutes, that's pretty big here for the side of Na'Vi.
RTK. I don't think it's Mana Void will do. It's level 1.
Still just level 1, yeah. Not quite level 11 here on Ditchara.
Ditchara needs to be careful. Limb Static Storm. Oh, it's not up
Static
yet.
Storm's not up there again, yeah. So he's going to be alright. In fact, it's going to be Seneko the one taking the brunt of this. And Ditchara coming back in.
Oh, no.
Needs to be careful. Maybe he's there as well. And Ditchara, oh, he's got a blink in. Oh, and he should be fine, and he is. Only just getting himself back over to his side. Actually just hiding out of the vision of the creep. Now he's got the blink and sent. He's going to get sent back.
Sent back and can TP out. But he just came back to lane.
Looks like our style. He's not going to be as lucky himself. He'll pop the mech. Oh,
Dendi
the will get the hook and takes the kill onto Slark. And Na'Vi will certainly take that. You may have killed the Chen, but Dendi turning that around with a huge kill onto Sylar.
Nice pickoffs. Dendi, though, still in some trouble here.
And they do have a Static Storm this time, so we're going to lay down. But the RP, oh, it catches 3. There's a snowball coming across. There isn't really much follow-up, though. RTK looking to run himself away from Seneko. They'll just use the Requiem, which blows up Magnus. Dendi will get the hook onto Maybe, but Maybe just turns the ult. The death ult ends up killing the Pudge, but they do get the kill onto the Shadow Fiend. Seneko's still trying to chase down RTK. There's your Mana Void from Ditchara to claim the kill off the back of it. So, all in all, even though the numbers are even, it feels like that favours the side Na'Vi. They got the Slark at the start, and they do end up killing the Shadow Fiend and the Darkseer. So all the cores on LGD dying, and Ditchara lives to see the end of it.
SF still managed to gain 650 gold out of it. I think just getting high priority kills, and he's still 1,000 net worth ahead of the anti-mage. So it feels like he got a triple kill off of that.
Yeah, the SF got a lot.
It feels like Navi's okay with that trade when they kill all 3 cores, but outside of the AM, they're just not getting a whole lot of farm on. I mean, they don't have the heroes that are going to scale out of the late game, so it's still Navi's late game is just looking very lackluster. They need to hit that anti-mage 3 to 4 big item timing where they can just win the game off of it. So the pressure's still on for Na'Vi. The time is still ticking away. Their draft is on a clock right now,
and especially SF with that finished Shadow Blade. So another bit of pressure that Na'Vi have got to be very, very aware of. As Maybe almost certainly will be looking to blow them up with that Requiem. He's nearly level 11 as well, so he's going to have that second stage of the ult. And I mean, as we saw, it was a bit of a hard hitter there for Ahmed. That he got such a great RP, but there just wasn't any anti-mage around with the Battle Fury done yet, or with the Empower just to kind of capitalize on those heroes being grouped up. And
even the Pudge was silenced up, so he couldn't hook one and get a follow-up kill instantly. But Ditchara's Battle Fury comes online now. A little bit later than perhaps you'd like, but he's still, I mean, 15-minute Battle Fury trades. That's nothing to really question.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a farm game now, because obviously Sylar, in terms of his build on the Slark, he did opt for the Midas here this game.
So Shadow Fiend goes for the Shadow Blade, and the Slark Midas means probably just see some heavy stats build up coming out.
And they've caught Ditchara again. He's going to go for the TP. The Death Ward's sitting there. Will it be enough? Woo.
The Hand of God saving lives.
Oh, jeez. Ditchara.
Lucky
man.
That was I'm just going to TP and pray.
And I think that he had 2 points, in fact, at this point in Spell Shield as well. That definitely that helped out a little bit. As you said, Battle Fury now done here for the man. So he is going to start to get the farm. Slark slightly ahead here. But with that Battle Fury, we'll see who wins the race, really. Sylar and his Midas, or AM, Mr. Ditchara and his Battle Fury.
He's still, you can see now the AM, he's not really safely free farming wherever he goes. He can't play that kind of 4 heroes trying to team fight and push while AM farms, because LGD will just gank the AM and kill him off with the Disruptor. We're at that stage of the game where Disruptor +1, in that case was a Witch Doctor, and other scenarios it can be an SF or a Slark, they can kill the anti-mage. So it's not as easy as just kind of farming while your team creates space in this game. But doing a good job to get away from that previous gank with the help of Chen, and Navi looking to kind of set up and find some follow-up kills now.
Dendi just positioning himself down at the bottom, seeing if he can get a lift onto Sylar, maybe. Walking this off with the Shadow Blade. Also bottles up an Invis.
Yep.
And,
Saw that. They know the Shadow Blade's up now, so it's something you always have to keep in mind. But
ooh, Dendi does catch Sylar, but Sylar gets the Dark Pact off, will pounce up and instantly looks for the TP, but the Skewer's there to cancel it. And Sylar, well, the Shadow Dance is going to run out, and Na'Vi looking to find it. They'll get the hook. Sylar tries to pounce away, but Dendi's there with a follow-up catch. And again, these are the kind of pickoffs that Na'Vi do need. Artstar in a bit of trouble. Deathwatch just getting laid down straight away from MMY. He's not messing around there with RTK, but there's Dendi with the hook, keeping the tempo of this game up, looking for MMY. Mech will be popped by RTK in the Fairy Fire, and with the Voodoo Restoration, MMY will be able to just walk this one off.
Fairy
Dendi
Fire
not
saving
quite able to
lives.
do it. Yeah, that was a close call there for the Witch Doctor.
The 17-minute Fairy Fire paying off. And you can just, it's still just, it looks really worrying for Na'Vi. Like, they're playing well, they're being aggressive, they're finding the ganks, but the overall net worth of the two teams, 3 of the top 4 heroes all on the LGD side. Where is the Na'Vi late game? It just comes entirely from hitting a big RP. And I don't feel like the RP matches up well enough against like what a Darkseer brings to the table.
SF, he's looking for Dendi, and he's found him. Nice.
Yeah, he needs like a
Right
on top of it.
There's a fair few members of Na'Vi here.
Oh, there's Sentry Wards. Na'Vi see him.
Yeah, Dendi, he's just going to go straight in with the hook, with the ult. Akmo blinks across, skewer onto the Shadow Fiend, and he's down. And indeed, yeah, great centering up here at the woods. Very aware that this Shadow Fiend's going to be looking for those exact kind of plays.
And they smoke up. That Radiant Ward may have spotted Artstyle smoke. It wouldn't have seen the other 3 heroes on the other side, but it looked like Artstyle would have been spotted, so not sure if LGD have called that one or paid attention to it, but could play into a Roshan, or alternatively they head bottom, look for another pick-off. I don't think they really needed to smoke into Rosh. They probably could have just walked there on their own merit, but this one just means there's no real chance for LGD to contest, assuming they didn't see it.
Just getting there that little bit quicker means that they've got a chance of finishing this before the Shadow Fiend's back in. 5 seconds, and I don't think there's going to be any way that he can get there in time. Na'Vi should be able to take it. Sylar with his item choice after the Midas, he did end up going for the blink. So he's got that catch potential in it, and also going to be a little bit more slippery if Na'Vi do try and catch him out. He's coming towards Rosh here. Sylar. Oh, no. He walks in and is like, all right, this is going on. The snowball will go pretty deep. Does catch him. He's going to be fine, and Na'Vi get the space that they need to get the kill onto Rosh, and that's going to be the Aegis going the way of Ditchara, so he's going to be able to farm even more safely now. I mean, while LGD do get themselves a tier 1 top, but Dendi already in position to try and find himself a hook. Oh, easy CS. And Midas Witch Doctor. That's not something we see every day, GoDz.
No, this is LGD saying like, okay, we don't really care what happens the next 10 minutes of this game. Even if Na'Vi get 20, 25 kills, as long as we go late game, we win the game now. Like, they've got double Midas, they've got SF Slark, supports that scale well, like Witch Doctor, Disruptor. These heroes get a lot stronger with Ag Scepters, and Na'Vi's draft, I think LGD recognize is going to fall off at later stages of the game. So they're just going to try minimize the amount of kills they give to Na'Vi, and even if Na'Vi like find a kill or 2 on one side of the map, as long as LGD is farming elsewhere, it's an okay trade for them right now.
I see LGD still hanging around in the jungle, smoked up, seeing if they can get a wrap around here onto the side of Na'Vi. Na'Vi, fairly close, and maybe now going to lead the way here. And Snakeo's going to be the one in trouble. But there's the RP. They get the RP onto 3. They'll get the hook. Also onto the Witch Doctor because you can't get the ult up, but they get the Static Storm. It's perfect from the side of LGD. 2 dead, 3 dead, 4 dead. They'll lose the Aegis here on the Anti-Mage. They've only lost the Witch Doctor on the side of LGD. And what a combo there. The Vacuum into the Static Storm, the Kinetic Field. They bring back Ditchara. The pounce is there from Sylar. They'll take down the Anti-Mage as well. And it's a triple kill for Slark. And again, it was a nice RP from Akmo.
Yep.
But LGD there, perfectly bang on ready to capitalize with the follow-up of the Darkseer and the Disruptor combination.
They had to burst down Disruptor during RP, because they caught everyone except Witch Doctor, was it?
They didn't catch Witch Doctor. Dendi got the instant hook on
Witch
Doctor.
And Witch Doctor, I think most importantly, to help secure the Static Storm, got the cask off.
He did get the cask
He
out.
threw the cask at the Magnus, it bounces around to like the Tusk or whoever, and as a result, I think that's a big reason why Na'Vi don't burst down Disrupt. If that Static Storm doesn't go off, Na'Vi win that fight. Or combined with the Vacuum. It's that wombo combo, and Na'Vi just couldn't quite get the damage to kill all those heroes in the RP. Anti-Mage perhaps just needs that one extra item. If he has like a Hyperstone with like, I mean, the Hyperstone being like the trendy build we're seeing a bit on Anti-Mage, if he has a Hyperstone plus Empower, he probably just kills everyone during that RP, but he's just a little bit short as far as items go for Na'Vi to win that fight.
They've got to be careful about this because they're looking at the net worth now. You've got the Slark and the Shadow Fiend at the top too. Starting to slip ahead, and LGD as a team in terms of net worth, they are getting the lead that they need. You know, the SMY, the lifesteal on top of the Shadow Blade here on Maybe. You can look to start working towards his next big thing, and yeah, the double Midas that they're running. So MMY, sooner than later, he will have that Aghanims done on the Witch Doctor. He's still got the cloak, so I guess he is going to finish off the Glimmer Cape first hit.
And for Na'Vi, like as far as next big opportunities go, they're going to hit a Blink Dagger on Tusk. They could get the Chen Ag Scepter, probably the two main kind of items coming their way.
Not talking about Chen. Art style. They've got a glimpse. They'll bring him back up the hill. He's got the mech, and there's your RP onto 3, but the Vacuum pulls him to the side. And it looks like Na'Vi can't do anything with the RP yet again. Sylar jumps in onto the Magnus. He gets bursted down. That's going to be another kill here for the Slark, and Sylar surged up. He's looking for more, looking for Artstyle. There'll be the hook, bringing Artstyle back up, but it doesn't matter. Slark follows through, gets himself a double kill. And I can't help but feel we've seen so many brilliant RPs from the Magnus, but it's just not done anything for the side of Na'Vi.
Yeah, they just don't have the necessary follow-up damage. No burst, no like follow-up stun really. A snowball is like a kind of lackluster stun in that scenario, and also you're snowballing into like the Witch Doctor cask. It just gives you another unit to bounce that cask off. So for LGD, that's 2 RPs in a row catching 4 heroes, I want to say, but again, it's that one hero not caught in the RP who manages to like help save the day. This time it was a Vacuum War.
They've got to be careful here, Na'Vi. They do still have Dichira farming up. He's got the 2.4k gold. He's still kind of close to the Slark and the Shadow Fiend, but anytime that you've got this AM with the Battle Fury that's not really at the top of the net worth board, you know things aren't really going to plan for the team.
Yeah, this the net worth chart just looks kind of very, very tragic for Na'Vi. You can't really look too much at the kills when you just aren't really... To me, Na'Vi's win condition is just really limited right now. I'm trying to even like picture what it's going to be. It's gonna be just like snowballing from kill to kill around, like getting Blink Daggers on heroes like Pudge and Tusk, and then just finding tons of pickoffs. But LGD plays so disciplined. They're always grouped as 5. That's why they're going for these 5-man smoke ganks, because they know Na'Vi won't be able to kind of snowball off of kills, assuming LGD are together. Their team fight outside of a 5-man RP disaster is going to win out against Na'Vi.
Slark's got a Skadi now. We're only 24 minutes in. This is Sylar giving us an absolute stellar performance on the hero. 7 for 2 for 3 in the KD8. And Na'Vi, as you said, they need to find something. Dendi, he's got himself a haste hit. But at this point, you know, the heroes on the side of LGD are starting to beef up. He himself can't really take anyone down. Apart from the 2 supports on his own, he's going to need to have a +1. But yeah, this is LGD's game at the moment, and it kind of feels like LGD just have to make a mistake, whether it be kind of going for a high ground push, and Na'Vi this time getting a good RP, screwing the team up to the high ground. But Na'Vi are definitely kind of just looking out for LGD to make a mistake, and so they can kind of jump on it. But LGD haven't been doing that in the last kind of 10 minutes of the game.
Absolutely. And in some ways, like those 2 big RPs from Axmo, you could almost like quantify as a mistake, but LGD still crushed both team fights despite being slightly too grouped up. Like it's fine for them to be grouped up, go for these 5-man smoke plays, but they need to be sure that as soon as they encounter Na'Vi, they don't allow the RP to hit as many heroes as it's been doing. Like luckily for them, it's just been 4 out of 5 twice in a row. If he hits 5, it's like it's disaster. But I think realistically, they should be at a position such that he only gets maybe 2 or 3.
Well, Dendi there was just seeing if he could catch out Witch Doctor on the back of that retreat. Isn't going to be the case. He's got the Ether Lens now done on the Pudge on top of his 4-star. Yep. So a little bit more catch potential here from the man. And in fact, bottom lane, Akmo and Dichira going on to Sylar. They popped the RP for this one. But Sylar, he's going to be fine now. DDC coming through as well. The Static Storm onto 2. The Glimpse will be there to cancel Akmo's TP. And the silence of Dichira is going to be enough time. With the Death Ward bringing him low, he will get the blink out into the tree line. They've lost the Magnus. Anti-Mage will escape though. And again, just the two of them, the AM and the Magnus, trying to go for a solo kill on Sylar, and the side of LGD just showing them that that's not going to work.
Yeah, a bit of a kind of desperation play in some ways for Navi. I think they're just like, okay, this game's not going well. We've got to start killing off some of these carries. The 5-man fights aren't working. Let's just try and catch the Sylar Slack when he's alone. But he got the Dark Pact off on the RP and then just pops the ultimate afterwards. So completely backfired. They weren't even close to getting the kill. And well, Navi going to be pushed back once again.
LGD now grouping up towards the mid, ready to start and push down lanes, and they've caught out Dendi with the glimpse into the party ring. He will get the ult off onto RTK, but RTK pops the mech. Oh, Dendi hooks from the graves, does get the kill onto Darkseer, but Sylar on the back lines picking off Artstyle, keeping the trade favorable for LGD.
Yep. Damn, that Pudge does so much damage. Like, I guess he was tanking the tower as well, but RTK's probably just like, what the hell just happened?
Ditcher trying his best here with the split push on the top lane. Sylar, still got a bit of time on the DD. 2 heroes down on Na'Vi, but it looks like LGD, they're just going to play it safe. They don't feel any need to kind of rush. And we've already talked about kind of the late game potential here of LGD. They themselves, their top draft really isn't on as much of a timer as Na'Vi's was.
And for Na'Vi, it's games like this where I can really see like the justification that for the Moonshot anti-mage build we've been seeing more and more of, because you want to do as much damage as possible during an RP. So like, this game, more than others, I feel like Moonshot makes total sense on anti-mage. Just so like during that RP, he can ideally get as many kills as possible while he's empowered, while all the LGD heroes are stunned up. But I'm not sure if that's definitely going to be the case. He could pick up something like a butterfly or other items as well. But I think the Moonshot is a very legitimate choice here.
Yeah, and especially if it gets to the point where they're going to be looking to go for Roshan, because anti-mage is someone that normally fills up the slots pretty quickly. So having something like a Moonshot that you can, obviously eat and still have that space for the Aegis could be good for them. Bash is going to be done though on the Slark, so Sylar starting to look towards getting that Abyssal maybe completed next, and then life is just going to be an absolute nightmare for Ditcher. If he gets caught and seen by that Sylar Slark at the beginning of a fight, it's going to be pretty much impossible for him to do anything.
Na'Vi going aggressive here in the Radiant jungle, but this could backfire for them. They've actually split up since smoking.
Oh.
And Sylar just goes blinking into a Roche pit. Like, it's
like,
is Na'Vi there? There could have been 5 Na'Vi heroes there for all he knew. He did not have the vision of anyone else on the map.
Oh, but goodbye, Snake. You're out. Always something satisfying about seeing kills like that. It's that good old Requiem.
Especially when it's like those cheeky, annoying heroes who are just hiding in trees waiting to like split push or something. Or
I'll never know I'm here. Boom! There you go. Just like that. Ditcher, he's starting to get a lot of money online. I mean, other than the Moonshot, do you think there's anything else you're thinking of? Or do you think we might see him even just pick up?
He could pick up the Eagle Song, Moonshot, or Butterfly or Abyssal. I think he needs to go aggressive. So I think Hard, I think, is a bad item choice. And what's he going to buy?
What's he going to do? Nothing at the moment.
Sell your badge.
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
he's just blinked into that. He should be fine.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of damage, but he's fine.
He's got to be careful, Ditcher.
SF just picked up the BKB, so if he AM goes BKB. Ooh.
Oh, Magnus may be resting in peace. Oh, Sylar. A little bit slow with that, and he did have an invis bottle. So.
Yeah, so AM picks up the item to be able to fight into Disruptor, but I don't think this helps him enough because he still can't fight into LGD with this. He's not going to do enough damage, and if he tries to fight while BKB, SF and Slack will just right-click him down. So I'm not a huge fan of this item pickup. I think it's hard. Like, I don't think there's any one item like, oh, AM gets in, then he's fine. Like, you go Moonshot, you're super squishy and you're vulnerable to that Disruptor. You go Butterfly, same thing. So I think whatever item you get, you have big weaknesses in how the anti-mage fits in right now. It's ultimately a big draft issue.
Ace-Man going straight in. They will get the hook over onto Sylar, but he did get the Shadow Dance off. Glimpse back onto Snako, trapping him in the ring. Sylar's going to go back towards him. There will be the RP, and now the stew onto Sylar, bringing Sylar underneath their tier 3, but Sylar still alive at the moment, will pounce away. The Mana Void coming through, but it doesn't matter. Sylar just walking it off. Hook from Dendi, gets maybe up to the high ground, but he pops the BKB, pops the ultimate, now turns to find Ditcher. The bash from Slark, Ditcher is down, 70 seconds there, tried to man fight against the side of LGD, but the bash from Sylar catching him off. Dendi won't quite find the hook there onto the Slark, and again, LGD with these favourable fights, even though that time again, they got the RP on the Slark, they brought him under the tower. But at this point, I really don't know how you're killing the Sylar Slug.
Yep, they did everything onto him. They even managed to get, like, Magnus got the RP and skewered before the Static Storm silenced him, so he pulled the Slark away. The Static Storm effectively wasted as a result, but even when LGD had to take the fight into Na'Vi's high ground without Static Storm, Sylar was fine. It was maybe just getting aggressive and going up there and BKB Requiming, and he also just unkillable. So with that fight there and Aegis being taken, this game suddenly becomes like you're looking at like a 1% chance for Na'Vi to kind of turn things around. Is kind of the reality of it.
Yeah, they're gonna need something pretty miraculous, and Dendi's trying for the hooks, not quite finding them. Yeah, Ags is now done on Witchstock to hit the side of LGD, and they're just ready to go to the high ground. 10 seconds, they'll have the AM back. RP, how long until that one's back online for Magnus? So 25 seconds.
The Helm of the Dominator being used to block the hooks now even.
This is hard. Akmo's RP. Maybe this time they can find some big Dendi. Can't quite get the hook. So Akmo, fairly grouped up LGD and RP. Any second now, we'll be back. Hook onto maybe. Followed up through the ult, but they're jumping the vacuum wall, and now the Static Storm drop down. Artstar just as being the Death Ward with the Aghanims. Look at it go! Double kill for MMY. 3 dead on Na'Vi. And the combo was there. They do end up popping the Aegis here on the Shadow Fiend, but I don't think LGD cares. Sylar jumps straight in onto Akmo. Akmo's caught out. He's down and out for the count. 4 dead on Na'Vi. Dendi hooking a creep.
Yep.
And pretty much the story of this game, the Pudge. It was great to see, but it just never really got off the ground, and it just didn't do enough to shut down LGD.
Yeah, and that was why I thought initially when they picked Pudge, like, okay, Nico Pudge, just because it's not a hero you're going to get much farm on, and running 2 kind of space creators as cores, both Pudge and Magnus, meant they had no late game. And in Power Anti-Mage cannot outcarry like the 2 cores of Slark and SF.
Yeah.
And the team fight, like, it's not like the team you can make up for with a scary team fight with the Magnus RP. I think Darkseer ultimately is like the better late game team fighter than the Magnus, and at least the more stable one. So I think Na'Vi, the Pudge pick, it's not questionable by itself. It's the fact that they didn't have a second carry.
He went for the hook, but he's gone straight down. Seneko going down. Na'Vi just falling slowly apart here.
Yeah.
I do have a buyback on Dendi, but this game certainly stepping up to into the harder territory.
No surprises. LGD now going to be 4-0. They are dominating Group A.
Oh, we've got an ether lens now on the Witch Doctor as well as the Ags. Okay, the Girard brought back. Put the Manta here. Does get bashed up. It's buying time here. I mean, yeah, LGD not finishing this one. So Na'Vi will still be able to hold on. Sylar's out. Sylar's gone. And yeah, as we can see in the next fight, everyone on the moment on the side of Na'Vi short of buyback apart from Dendi. Yep. But LGD again, very disciplined. Don't want to try and YOLO it. They want to play it safe. They realize they're ahead, and they want to kind of slowly kill the side of Na'Vi by looks of it.
It's pretty hard to go for Throne because there's Pudge, Hook plus Skewer, so you can just get instantly push enough down in, and SF doesn't have Aegis anymore, so really it's the easiest way to end this game is to push top and get Mega Creeps, and they couldn't do that because there's a tier 2 tower, so it's kind of playing it safe, but I think ultimately they would have actually fed a few kills if they went for the Throne there.
Oh, Artstar.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been hooked by Dendi. Dendi will cancel the ult there. MMY may be getting a little bit too cheeky, and with the Skewer slow, they should pick up the kill, and they do. So I think MMY just got a little bit too cocky there. ROTK as well getting blown up by Seneko and Ditchara. Ditchara with a Mana Void. So LGD, you know, they can't start to taunt Na'Vi too much. They do have to be careful about giving away kills like this.
I'm glad Na'Vi punished them for some of those YOLO taunt-like plays, like you said.
Yeah.
It's still pretty dire. Na'Vi's they've got a butterfly coming for Deetra, and this is like very much like you got to go all in with some of your items for anti-mage, stand a chance to turn this game around. Na'Vi don't really have the lineup to turn this one.
I mean, yeah, it's just.
I hate to be that guy, Owen, but I don't think Na'Vi's winning this game.
30,000. Now I can't remember seeing that drastic.
And that was with
the
just
game
two big kills as well, just picked up for now. I mean, by big kills, I mean they give tons of money because you're so far behind. Yeah, 1K a piece roughly, or close to. For supports at that.
I mean, it's just this Slark. They're not killing the Slark.
Yep, not killing Slack, SF. The only way they're killing SF is by like hooking him into Fountain.
Oh, well, I mean, here's your anti-mage. Just get forced out. Okay, this is a nice play from Na'Vi, BKB, and the hook from Dendi. Just say, no, you're staying with me, buddy.
Had to use BKB defensively to stop the Glimpso, so it's now on cooldown, and LGD likely to just take the tier 2 top, work on the tier 3, get the Megas, and just stay the hell away from the Na'Vi Fountain. That's the only thing that can kill them at this point.
I guess with the Empower, the fact that they've got 4 melee heroes, they can kind of hold against the stronger creeps, but the question is what about winning a fight, really? And they need a huge play from them. They need a huge RP, but then the follow, it's just, say the Disruptor was on Na'Vi's side, I feel it could be a totally different story, because at least you've got something then to lay down on top of the RP that allows someone like the AM with the Empower to go ham, but I mean, a Chen, and as you said, the Snowball, not the greatest of things to really combo, and they're going to try and go there. There's your RP, onto 3, the 3-man skewer, in comes Ditchera. This could be it, the wall's been dropped, but they've already got 2 kills here. RTK searches himself away. Ditchera will be able to save himself, blinking out to the side. And Na'Vi there, pretty much following up the best they have this game to an RP, getting themselves 2 kills. It's just the 2 supports, though.
And that's been Na'Vi's biggest problem. I mean, you talk about them having disrupted. Their biggest issue this game is the follow-up to RP. We've seen Axmo hit some amazing RPs this game, but time and time again, the follow-up has been lackluster. That's kind of the best yet, and the follow-up was not like any big spells. It was just an anti-mage cleaving through the hero, so it's got to be Ditchera who just dishes out the maximum damage during that RP
if
timing.
they get an ult off here, and this man is so gone. He does have that buyback. But LGD just showing the anti-mage that he can't afford to kind of get cocky like that and just come out the base and look to farm after taking down a couple of heroes.
Slack with Moonshot's going to just lock AM down in place. If AM doesn't have like that 4-staff or something to back him up, help keep him alive, the Pudge hook, whatever it may be. At this stage, LGD likely just go forward, force out the buyback, and possibly even try to take the ensuing fight. For them, it's like that last fight, they lose 2 supports, but if that RP isn't what it was, they win the game.
Yeah. I mean, and Dendi getting jumped on here by Sylar. He's going to look for the TP out, and goes up to he will make it. Akmo's been trapped in the Static Storm. They'll find the Magnus kill him. Magnus does not have buyback available here. Down for 50 seconds.
Was that Dendi using his taunt while he TP'd? I think he may have been. I'm not sure.
He's a cheeky man. But again, we talked about what they could do with the RP, but without the RP, it's an even worse story here for the side of Na'Vi. RTK jumping in with the vacuum wall. There'll be a snowball. Snako looking to walk it off. Sylar jumps straight in onto the Chen. Looking for the kill onto Wildstar. Will get it godlike here for the man on the Slark. Dendi underneath the tower. Death Ward's been laid down. Dendi got to walk this one off. GG is called, and LGD, no mercy this game. And the power of the Sylar Slark is back, showing us how well this hero can be played. And not only just that by LGD, but also their Shadow Fiend. Maybe giving us a very impressive performance and showing us that Shadow Fiend, he can still be very relevant in this patch.
Yeah, it almost turned into like a contest, like maybe in Sylar, like, oh, I'm going to get more kills than you. Like, they both end on these beyond godlike streaks and have fantastic games. And LGD looking solid throughout the tournament. Na'Vi,
they've won everything so far, haven't they?
Yeah. Na'Vi trying to go for something different, which I think is a good approach considering the position they were in. They're versing LGD. They had to win both their games today, so it was going to be a tough ask for them. And it didn't work out for them. I like the idea, I like the approach, but it's still a bit worrying for Na'Vi moving forward that they haven't had a great run here at Sylar.
They haven't. And LGD, I think they've got a bit of a nice day for them today. They've just played Na'Vi. Next, they've got Alliance. Now, Na'Vi did beat Alliance yesterday.
Yep.
But
that
then
was
was the first game, so you can't really take much from that. And then Alliance did look a lot stronger. So
Alliance
arguably, the next game going to be closer, would you say?
I think it could be very close. Alliance beat them 3-2 at WCA, and that was very new in the patch. But I think Alliance, a team who could kind of surprise people today, win a few games, and be like a dark horse to make a run into the playoffs. So I don't think you can count Alliance out. Na'Vi, at this point, they're, I think, effectively out of the tournament. Yeah,
tough run for Na'Vi, but indeed we've got some very exciting games coming down the line. So don't go anywhere. We're going to cut to a short break and then back to the panel to hear more about the next series and the series we just